From Kodak cameras to Wall Street banks, the biggest billion-dollar blunders all share one shocking truth. Hey, this is Coinrad, and today we're breaking down $8 billion blunders that reshaped the world economy. We'll kick things off with the cheap blunders, the ones that only burned through a few dozen billion. Number 8. Kodak ignoring digital cameras, 1970s to 1990s. Kodak invented the digital camera in 1975. Their engineer built a working prototype, but executives panicked. If digital caught on, who'd buy film? So they buried it. Fast forward, every phone has a camera, and Kodak, once worth $30 billion, filed for bankruptcy in 2012. They had the patents, the tech, the head start, and they squandered it all. The company became the poster child for innovation denial, proof that protecting today's profits can kill tomorrow's survival. It's like inventing Netflix, then saying, nah, VHS tapes are forever. Number 7. Enron scandal, 2001. Enron looked unstoppable, an energy giant that bragged about innovation, profits, and endless growth. But it was a lie. Executives hid billions in debt, inflated earnings, and tricked investors, employees, even regulators. At its peak, Enron's stock was worth $70 billion. When the fraud unraveled, it collapsed to zero almost overnight. Tens of thousands lost jobs and pensions, and investors got crushed. The fallout gave us Sarbanes-Oxley, a law forcing companies to play fair with their accounting. But the real lesson? Enron wasn't just a fraud. It was a cult of hype, where the insiders cashed out and everyone else paid the price. Number 6. BP Deepwater Horizon spill, 2010. On April 20th, 2010, a BP oil rig in the Gulf of Mexico exploded, killing 11 workers and unleashing the worst marine oil spill in history. For months, crude poured into the ocean, coating beaches, killing wildlife, and devastating fishing and tourism. The cleanup, lawsuit, and fines cost BP around $65 billion. That's more than the yearly GDP of some countries. The money hurt, but the reputational damage was worse. Images of oil-soaked pelicans and burning rigs turned BP into the poster child for corporate negligence. One explosion rewrote safety rules for the entire oil industry and branded BP forever with one word: disaster. Number 5. Long-term capital management collapse, 1998. Imagine the smartest people in finance, including 2 Nobel Prize winners, betting they'd crack the code to eliminate risk. That was LTCM, a hedge fund using massive leverage to profit from tiny price differences. For years, it worked. Then Russia defaulted on its debt, and the model collapsed. LTCM lost billions in weeks. The danger? They were so entangled with global banks that their fall threatened a financial chain reaction. Losses spiraled so fast that the Federal Reserve Bank of New York stepped in. Not with taxpayer money, but by forcing Wall Street to organize a $3.6 billion private rescue. 14 banks pooled funds to stop LTCM's collapse from turning into a global financial meltdown. Number 4. Nokia missing smartphones, 2000s. In the early 2000s, Nokia ruled the phone world. Their brand was everywhere: durable, reliable, basically indestructible. Then came smartphones. Apple launched the iPhone, Google pushed Android, and Nokia laughed. They thought touchscreens were a gimmick. Within a decade, Nokia's $300 billion market value had cratered to under $30 billion. A company that once sold half the world's phones became irrelevant. Missing the smartphone wave was like owning the ocean and refusing to sell surfboards. By the time they tried to catch up, it was too late. Nokia's fall shows how even giants can drown when they ignore the future. Number 3. AOL and Time Warner merger, 2000. The year 2000 brought the biggest corporate marriage of all time. AOL merged with Time Warner in a $350 billion deal. It was supposed to fuse old media with new internet. Instead, it was a disaster. Cultures clashed, the dot-com bubble burst, and the combined company bled value. Within a few years, over $200 billion was erased. To this day, it's called the worst merger in history. It's like forcing 2 roommates to live together when one's a neat freak and the other's a frat bro. AOL vanished, Time Warner staggered, and the deal became a textbook warning about hype-driven mergers. Number 2. Lehman Brothers collapse, 2008. Lehman Brothers wasn't just another bank. It was a 158-year-old Wall Street institution. And in 2008, it imploded. Years of stuffing balance sheets with toxic subprime mortgages finally caught up. When confidence evaporated, Lehman filed for bankruptcy with $600 billion in debt, the largest in U.S. history. The collapse triggered the global financial crisis, wiping out trillions worldwide and plunging economies into recession. Jobs, homes, and savings disappeared. Lehman's fall taught the world a brutal truth. When one domino that big tips over, the whole system shakes. If Enron collapsed from cheating, Lehman collapsed from overconfidence. And the fallout was worldwide. Number 1. The Mississippi Bubble, 1719-1720. Our number 1 blunder takes us back to 18th century France, where John Law, a gambler turned economist, convinced the government to back his Mississippi company with paper money. Shares skyrocketed as hype spread. Everyone wanted in, nobles, merchants, even servants. For a while, Law looked like a genius. But the company had almost no real assets, and when confidence cracked, the bubble burst. Investors lost fortunes on a scale so massive, it makes even Lehman look small. Some estimates suggest the Mississippi company soared to a staggering $6.5 trillion in today's dollars before crashing. France was left bankrupt, the currency collapsed, and trust in paper money evaporated for decades. No Bloomberg terminals, no hedge funds, just raw human greed and panic. The Mississippi bubble proves billion-dollar blunders aren't new. They've been wrecking economies for centuries. And there you have it. 8 colossal mistakes, from Kodak's missed chance to Lehman's crash, to a French bubble so wild it reshaped history. What ties them all together? It's not just money lost, it's confidence lost. Because in finance, trust is everything. Once it's gone, the bill always comes due. This is Coinrad. Hit subscribe and stick around for more stories about money, markets, and the madness they create.